In most lifetimes, especially this lifetime, most or all of us will either personally or through others we love experience very big challenges, life-threatening challenges. So I would ask, for ourselves, how do we best open ourselves up to our healing powers within ourselves? And for those we know and love who are having very big challenges to their life, how do we best support them and embrace them and help them without stepping across their boundaries?
And much of the answer is the same. Learn the human protocols, the human ways of communicating, thinking, being that allow you the experience of faith in that it is all of service and all good. And so when you see yourself or you see one that you love with pity, with fear, you do not support them. You do not allow them the possibility of knowing their own strength and accessing that which would serve them. And we would invite you, this particular group, this very small group, we would invite you to really consider, are you not ready to let go of the concept of healing? Are you not ready to let go of the idea that there is something to be fixed and healed within you? Are you not ready to shift your paradigm, to shift your perspective, that as we spoke on beliefs and filters, there is nothing broken. Everything that you experience that you do not prefer is only an invitation for a choice. Now, this is not your experience earlier. This is not your experience earlier in your journey. It is very ideal that you understand healing and fixing and reaching for more to help others out of suffering. And yet, if you do not evolve yourself out of this concept for yourselves personally, you will always revisit the frequency of suffering. And so you are called, uniquely called, to show up in positive expectation, to reach, to develop a skill set for that frequency, to know that when you ask, you are answered not with tricks. You are answered not with puzzles. You are answered not with more challenge. You are answered with possibility. And this has not existed in your dimension before. Everything is faster. And so if you would utilize the words that we are giving you, the frequency that we are giving you, the intention that we are projecting towards you, if you would receive them, and you may need to listen to this more than once, and yet it is our intention as you show up to help us evolve in our ability to give to you, as you evolve your ability to receive. This is an expansion. And so when you learn, when you practice, when you embody how to be present without the negativity, there is nothing to heal. And when you are in the energy of there is nothing wrong, there is nothing to fix, nothing is broken, there is a preference that I would much prefer, there is something I would more easily delight in, then you are part of that creation. Then your energy, your focus, your vibration, your intention aligns to that which you would prefer, instead of aligning to that which feels most uncomfortable. And this is true in everything, and you are good at this in many, many ways. And if you would see, if you would look, if you would write down, because you like to write, if you would make lists, all those lists of all the ways that you do this, where you're in the challenge, but you focus only on the solution. You're in the struggle, and yet you're only like, I know the answer will come, and that feels good to you. There are many times you have positive expectation, and you have been practicing this a very long time with your animals, with your little people. You look at them and you do not say, oh, you are so stupid, you will never grow. You will never get it. You are too small, you cannot reach, you cannot understand, you cannot communicate well. You do not say this. You see and you adore the cuteness, the cuddliness, the childlikeness, the puppyishness. You enjoy that. And you know that there will be positive growth. You do not expect to put them in a little box since they do not grow, do not change. And even your adorable little furry creatures, You love the way they look and they play and they interact, and then you're like, oh my goodness, take a break, it's too much. And then they do, and they grow older and they get slow and they get calm. And you know this will happen. And so if you would take all that energy, where are you already doing it in a way that has given you the result that you are seeking? Because you are always aligning to that which you are seeking vibrationally. When are you in positive expectation? When are you in solution-minded energy? And the opposite is, when are you in fear? When are you in victim consciousness? When are you in need? When are you in scarcity? And when you develop the skill to understand the two different frequencies, you will much more quickly align to that which you like. And then we would remind you, although we know that this is not the part that you like to hear, we will remind you that your concept of time is also influenced by this filter of expectation, that it must be in a certain way at a certain time, or you feel disappointment, or you feel like you're getting something wrong, or in extreme measure, you feel punished. You feel that something is being withheld. And we said this is only part of the illusion of separation that you came to explore so that you could create new filters of worthiness. That is not one of the gifts that has been given humanity. In true worthiness, there would not be wars. There would not be criticism. There would not be cruelty. And so this is the filter that you came to explore. Can you live in diversity? All the diversity of your animals, of your genders, of your personalities, of your cultures, of your religions, of your IQ, of your emotional IQ. Can you live with all this diversity, knowing that all that you pick that is in your preference is not another person's preference, and still find an inner knowing of worthiness and peace? And we would say that is your greatest challenge. Always your greatest challenge. And the moment you get good at it, you will begin the next level of expansion and find that you're right back to the struggle. And so our invitation is to change your perception of that which you call the struggle, to change your perception of that which you call needing healing, to change the perception of that which you call unfair, to change the perception of that which you call not right, to change the perception of that which you call not enough, not soon enough, not fast enough, not big enough, not enough. And when you change that perception, you can withdraw the energy that is holding you in the most familiar patterns on this planet. And you can move forward into that which you have all agreed to do. You can move forward into a space of not accepting what is the way it is. The space, the energy, the consciousness of accepting that is, with the positive expectation that it's an invitation for something bigger and better.
Thank you.
I didn't think I'd have a question, but I heard you say earlier, when we're seeking a higher consciousness, when we're seeking another dimension, that it's always met, and that we need to be sure that we utilize that in the right way.
Well, we would never use the word need, and we would say that only you can choose. How do you use? How do you question? How do you receive? How? And this is a new time for you on this planet. This is a time you will notice that many of your healers, your energy workers, your teachers, your astrologers, even your therapists, your doctors, it is a time of many modalities, even your technology. There are many things that are integrating now where it used to be very, very deliberate and separate and individualized streams of consciousness and streams of help and streams of teaching. And today you are finding that many of you will dabble in a great area, and this is a good crossing of integration, of connection. And what is being called is that you recognize in true worthiness, in true self-love, the thing that you would love the most is your unique expression of all that is, the uniqueness that is you. And that is the only story that you can tell. And that is the story of how you use an answer, how you perceive an answer, how you perceive a teaching, how you would utilize a teaching, how you would discard one teaching and keep an aspect of it, how you would often change your journey, how you would start down this path and wiggle this way and that way, and what you would take from it, and what you would hold as memory, and what you would hold as a gift, and what you would discard as no longer of benefit to you, and what you would give others. And because this is a new energy on your planet in the incarnation of the dense body form, because this is a new energy, you have a tendency in the mind, in the human mind, you have a familiar body pattern of resonating only with it is right or it is wrong. It is black or it is right. It is the right time or the wrong time. It is now or it is not now. And we would say to you to expand your consciousness. If you were to know, if you were to feel, if you were to experience the beauty of your individualized expression of all that is in one form with one personality and one physical expression, if you could see that, if you brought every question and every answer to how is this resonating with the uniqueness of me, you would learn to love yourself, and then you could utilize the messages that you don't even hear. Then you could utilize the signs that you actually miss. And then you could have a great time. And even if you missed or didn't hear or misheard, you would only laugh, because then you would get another opportunity to love yourself even more. And you will find that all of you, when you deeply love another being, two or four-legged, you easily laugh. You laugh with them, for them. You laugh with love at all the challenges of growing, of being coordinated in these forms that are so affected by so many things. You find it easy to laugh and love, and yet you struggle to give that to yourself. And so as long as you're in the perception that you're missing something, or you need to utilize it in a certain way and you don't have the way, or you've gotten it wrong, or you're a little too slow, you keep repeating the same pattern, whenever you are in reprimand or self-criticism, you are not loving the unique expression of the divine that you are. And we want to give you another analogy that we used the other day. If you were to go and visit a different country, a different culture, and you went and the whole time you said, I do not like the food, it should be the food that I am adjusted to at home, and I do not like the decor and the color and the style, it should be the way I have it at home. And I do not like the language, it should be the language I am most familiar with at home. You would say to the person who speaks like that, then do not travel. And so we offer you this to say, you chose to travel. Stop complaining. Love all of it. Love all of it. Love your confusion. Love your sorting it out. Love your challenge and your struggle. Love how you expand into a new arena because of the challenge and the struggle. If you could love all the diversity, all the different intensities and levels and layers and complexity that make you uniquely you, all the memories, all the inherited trauma, all the personalized drama, all of it, all the gifts, all the strengths, and all the oops, and all the mishaps. If you could love that all of that creates the individualized expression of the divine in your form, you would have a much easier go. And in a much easier go, you would be in a receptive mode of catching all the good things. When you are relaxed, and many of you this means on a beach, in the sun, with the waves, when you are in that space, you are very relaxed and open, and you receive well. If this was your goal, to fall madly in love with the uniqueness of yourself, you would never again get stumped on the what if, why didn't, not enough. Because you would see that there is no end game. There is no one spot that is forever. You think that you would love the puppy that does not grow or the kitten that does not turn into a cat, and it is not true. They would drive you crazy. You enjoy the passage of growth, of journeying, of developing, except when it is you. And we find this endlessly fascinating, that you understand it with others, that you want the promotions in your work, that you want the new book with the new story, and you want the new movie with the new special effects, that you do not want to read over and over and over the same story, that you do not want to vacation in the exact same spot, and that you do not even want your homes to look the same decade after decade after decade. And if you could see yourself, feel yourself, embody yourself as a canvas of dynamic change and growth, a unique, complex, beautiful expression of all that is in one form. And we lovingly find delight in that you are so large and magnificent, and you're smushed in these tiny little forms, trying to coordinate all these different things. And you wonder at all the stops and starts. And yet we promise you that that too creates it as an adventure. So there is nothing you need to get, and you do not need to utilize it in any way. And this brings us right into what we would like to share with you. You cannot get it wrong. And all your efforts to understand what judgment is and forgiveness, all your efforts to understand what unconditional love is on earth, these are the questions that are asked to bring in. And when we say bring in, we do not mean that they already exist somewhere else and you must bring them here. We want to clearly say to you, we desire that you hear us with clarity. You are creating what is next by the way you ask and utilize the answer, and you cannot get that wrong. Stop for a moment and ask yourself, when you start any creative endeavor, anything that is creative by your definition, even the reading of a story someone else has written, even the creativity of letting it come into your mix of memory, your mix of personality, your mix of expectation, your chemistry, your biology, your history, you bring it in for an experience. That is even creative. Although you think it is not, you think only the writer is creative. It is creative in that each person who reads the same book has a different experience. Similar and yet different, unique. So if you were to ask yourself, when I am creative, and you play with creativity, when you are creative, do you have an exact something that you're aiming for, or do you seek that there would be more than you flowing through the expression so that you could end up with something delightful? Are you not seeking to delight yourself? Are you not seeking for the delightful experience through the movie, through the book, through the story, through the TV show? Are you not seeking the experience of delight through the travel, through the adventure, through the exercise, through the sleep, through the food, through the music? If you were to realize that you cannot get it wrong, it is all contributing to the expansion of experience. And we assure you it will all come back full circle. That once you have explored the negative and lower frequencies, once you've explored the creativity that did not pan out in your opinion, once you have explored cruelty, once you have explored regret and disappointment long enough, You will simply be clear on the preference that you prefer, and you will get motivated to align to that. No one is getting it wrong. We understand that there are many things that are not acceptable. Hurting others, there's always a cost that you would not prefer to incur. And yet today, what we want to speak to you about is the hurt that you incur within yourself by not knowing that we are encouraging you, you are encouraging you. Everything in your experience is encouraging you to fall in love with yourself, to not make yourself wrong the way you would not make a kindergartner wrong for using the wrong color or writing the letter backwards. Stop making it wrong. Stop making it hard. Instead, choose. How could I look at this? How could I feel this? How could I take this particular answer or non-answer, in your opinion? How could I take this and benefit? How could I enjoy the experience of me? What is the invitation? What is the preference that I am developing? As you do in your creative endeavor. Do I like this color? Do I want to change it? Do I like this texture? Do I like this form? Or do I want to change it? Will it give me more delight to keep playing? Would it give me more delight to walk away before I throw it across the room? You know all these feelings, and we say to you, utilize that when you're thinking messages. Utilize that when you're thinking answers. Utilize that. What do I prefer? What do I prefer? What do I prefer? And the more you ask the question, the better you will become in the skill and the possibility of enjoying yourselves being you.